We're back. Bad blood. It's time.
It is
There's nothing
time.
else left to say. Like
Nope.
or get testicular cancer, I guess.
Oh no. Thoughts and prayers with Nikola Topic.
He'll be fine. He'll be fine. All right, let's get
Okay.
going. Let's get
Back
going.
on track here. Let's start with Bad Blood. Opening the show tonight is the Phenomenal Egos versus the New Day in a ladder match for the SmackDown Tag Titles. The bell rings and all four men roll out of the ring to go get ladders. The New Day get a ladder from one side of the ring and slide it in, whilst Phenomenal Egos do the same on the other side. Both teams then set up ladders in the middle and climb the ladders as they both brought in. Page and Woods are arguing as they climb side by side, whilst Kofi and AJ are throwing little jabs as they climb on their side. All four get to the top and start reaching for the belts and slapping the other team's hands away. After a lot of back and forth at the top of the ladder, the two pairs begin punching each other and slowly start descending the ladders. Um, Kofi and AJ are brawling as Page and Woods are brawling. Kofi and Woods gain the advantage at the same time and smack Phenomenal Ego's heads against the ladders. Kofi then begins to climb as Woods tries to protect him. Page and Styles both stir at the same time, and Woods is able to hold Page off, but AJ manages to climb the ladder and cut Kofi off just as his fingertips start touching the belts. AJ starts beating on the back of Kofi, but just as it seems Kofi is about to fall off, he starts fighting back. It seems like now Kofi is going to win the exchange when all of a sudden Page shoves Woods back into the ladder, knocking it over, causing Kofi to get caught up in the ropes. AJ looks down in shock before gathering himself and starts reaching for the belts as AJ was on a separate ladder from Kofi when it got knocked over. Um, I've got to refine myself. For gathering, reaching for Woods, enraged at what Page just made him do, drives Page into the ladder AJ is on and knocks that one over, causing AJ to fall into the ropes. Both AJ and Kofi roll out of the ring, and Page and Woods argue back and forth for a bit before trading blows in the middle of the ring. Page eventually wins the exchange and just throws Woods out of the ring. He then gathers himself for a moment before setting the ladder back up. Just as he gets a foot on the bottom rung, Woods has gotten back into the ring and grabs his hand and connects with a eat defeat. Page then rolls out of the ring, and Woods begins to climb. As he gets about halfway up, AJ gets onto the apron. He adjusts his elbow pad, and Woods is just begging AJ not to do it. AJ springboards anyways and hits Woods with a phenomenal forearm, knocking him off the ladder. AJ gets up and is about to climb when Kofi gets back in and throws AJ out of the ring. Kofi then begins his climb. AJ isn't down for long though, and once again is quick to get back into the ring and cuts off Kofi at the top of the ladder. As they trade blows, Page gets up and sets up a ladder right beside it and climbs it. But Woods also gets back to his feet and climbs side by side next to Kofi. Both pairs once again trade blows at the top of the ladders. Kofi nails AJ with a roundhouse kick, and it seems like AJ is about to fall, but Page manages to keep him up. Page then fights off both Kofi and Woods until Woods nails Page with a roundhouse kick of his own, and Page is almost about to fall, but this time AJ catches him. AJ starts to fight back and smashes Kofi's head against the ladder, which almost knocks Kofi off, but Woods manages to catch him with one arm. Woods, with one arm holding Kofi and the other holding onto the ladder, looks angrily towards Phenomenal Egos as they both shove Woods off with their boots. They then climb one more rung up the ladder and unhook the tag titles as Phenomenal Egos retain.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, will be the longest match of the night. Was written apparently before we were told, let's speed run the shit out of this.
We then move on to Cora Jade versus Mercedes Moné for the Women's Championship. The bell rings, and this time it seems like Cora has come with a whole new focus. She has taken these past couple of weeks to try to get herself right and is putting on quite the beating on the champion. Mercedes has to roll out of the ring and consoles with Team Bad. Cora is quick on the attack once Mercedes gets back into the ring, but after a bit, Mercedes manages to drive Cora back into the corner and takes control of the match. Mercedes controls the match for the next few minutes, beating down on Cora's arm, trying to re aggravate an injury. Mercedes then gets Cora up and goes for the moneymaker, but Cora manages to get out of it and rolls Mercedes up, that Mercedes manages to kick out of at 2. Cora then is quick on the attack and takes control of the match for the next couple of minutes. Cora then gets up and is setting Mercedes up to hit Jaden when Tamina gets on the apron and distracts Cora. Cora drops Mercedes, then gets into the face of Tamina, and they argue. They argue for a bit before Mercedes gets up and gets Cora into position for the moneymaker and connects this time. She covers Cora, 1, 2, kick out. Mercedes just laughs to herself and slowly picks Cora up. As she does, Cora gets a burst of energy and hits Mercedes with Jaded and covers her, 1, 2. Naomi just gets Mercedes' foot onto the rope in time. Cora seems distraught and looks out towards Tamina and Naomi and starts arguing with them before Mercedes once again gets up and this time hits a backstabber onto Cora and then puts her into the bank statement. Cora is writhing around in pain and is slowly crawling her way towards the ropes before Mercedes kicks off the bottom rope and rolls them back into the middle of the ring, where Cora has no choice but to tap out. Mercedes Moné retains her women's championship.
Oh, this one's gonna be like 5 seconds.
Oh, hell no.
Okay, it's not gonna be that short, but it's short as fuck. Maybe like 3 sentences. All right, they both beat the shit out of each other. In the end, we see Randy have Jay completely knocked out. He does an apron DDT onto the concrete again, like he beat him the first time, and he handcuffs him to the ropes against the pole. Randy goes under the ring, gets a sledgehammer, and smacks him right in the face with it. Jay's head is squished between the pole and the hammer. Randy uncuffs him and covers him for the win. Jay gets taken out on a stretcher. Who knows when we'll see him again?
Okay.
I'm telling you,
All right.
speed run.
Alrighty, then we move on to Jade Cargill versus Io Sky. This is to crown the inaugural Women's Intercontinental Champion. Io Sky, for the first several minutes of this match, has control. She's showing that Jade's inexperience in these sorts of situations may be her downfall. That is until the tide swings as Io goes to charge in for a Meteora on Jade in the corner, but Jade gets a boot up. This stuns Io and allows Jade to start gaining some momentum and takes control of the match for the next couple of minutes. Jade fights her way back into the match and eventually gets Io in position for Jade. As she goes for the move, Io manages to roll through the move and then mushroom stomps Jade's midsection before heading up top. Io looks out to the crowd for a minute before, out of nowhere, Asuka gets up onto the apron and distracts Io. Io and her argue for a moment before Jade gets up and nails Io in the gut with a punch before getting up behind her on the top rope, and nailing Io with a top rope Jaded. Jade then covers Io. 1, 2, 3. Jade is your inaugural Women's Intercontinental Champion.
All right, and time to pull some bullshit out my ass right now. Pretty sure I've already done this, but fuck it. Naomi's out of the ring. She's knocked the fuck out. Bliss hits a goddamn what's it called? What's her sister Abigail DDT. She's about to go for the cover. Tiffany tags herself in. She goes up top, hits the prettiest moonsault ever, and gets the pin as she pins Tamina. Alexa Bliss looks annoyed. It's like whatever, we won, it doesn't matter.
Okay. If you Bliss time retain. We then move into Sami Zayn versus Bronson Reed. This match is pretty one-sided from the time the bell rings. Sami seemingly just can't get past this being his former ally, who is now brutalizing him and throwing him all over the ring. Bronson pulls no punches, and towards the end, we see Bronson go up top for the tsunami, but Sammy manages to roll out of the way. Sammy starts fighting back and gets Bronson into the corner. Sammy then goes across the ring into the opposite corner, seeming like he's about to set up a haluva kick. As Sammy is about to charge in, Tamatanga gets up on the apron and distracts both Sammy and the referee. As Tama does this, Solo gets up onto the apron and spikes Sammy in the throat. Bronson then charges across the ring, splashes Sammy before heading up top and connecting with a tsunami, covering Sammy. 1, 2, 3. Bronson Reed picks up the win.
All right, Breezy. The show's already gone over by a long margin. We gotta wrap it up. So, so Julian Rio say, nah. Rio's like, I'm gonna swing my big dick around. We're going 20 minutes. And after a 20-minute slobber knocker, Rhea hits a riptide, goes for the pin. One, two, kick out. Rhea can't believe it. We then see her start to argue with the ref that it was a 3. Ref says, nah. Rhea finally turns her attention back to Julia. Julia's up already. She kicks Rhea in the gut. She gets Rhea up and hits a Northern Lights bomb. She isn't done. She sets up in the corner. She hits an Arrivederci, but for good measure, she sets up one more time and hits her with it again. Cover. 1, 2, 3. Julia is moving on to the Queen of the Ring finals. After the match, Rhea gets in Julia's face, then backs up a little bit. She extends her hand. They shake hands, and Rhea says, "This isn't over between us." And we're done here.
Gotcha. We then move into a last man standing match between Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre's entrance, he seems visibly upset, and mouse the word someone just had to get their shit in. And then we move into the match. The bell rings. This match has no love lost between these two gentlemen. They throw everything at one another. A very hard hitting affair that sees carnage follow them all over the ring. We see Drew drive Seth through the barricade at one point during the match, but somehow Seth finds a way to beat the count. We later see Drew get put through the announce table by a splash from the ring by Seth Rollins. Drew then himself barely beats the count. Once both men get to their feet after the splash, they decided to expand their range outside of just the ring and start brawling their way into the crowd. They eventually get around to the production area. They brawl around some electrical equipment and get up on some production boxes. They're both trying to throw the other off, and Seth eventually kicks Drew in the gut and backs up a little bit and goes to connect with a curb stomp, but Drew stands up, and as Seth charges in, Drew belly to bellies him over his head into the electrical equipment. There's a bunch of pops and explosions as Seth goes crashing into this stuff. The referee checks on Seth for a minute before beginning the count. Drew gets up and is leaning against the boxes as the referee counts to 10. As Seth remains motionless within all the electrical equipment, Drew gets his hands raised, and it is very obvious that this match had a very terrible toll on both competitors. But Drew McIntyre picks up the win.
All right. Y'all thought I wasn't doing shit in the last couple matches. Wait till you see this one.
Roxanne Perez wins. We move on.
This time, Rox does everything in her power to make sure she doesn't get trapped in the sharpshooter like last time. Uh, the end sees Trish go for a bulldog. Rox catches her, throws her off. As Trish is getting to her feet, Rox quickly hits Pop Rocks on her. Cover 1, 2, 3. Roxanne wins.
Okay.
We're going over. Some people had to get their time cut.
You guys got 30 seconds. Okay. Moving to the World Heavyweight Title match between Karrion Kross and Cody Rhodes. Cody comes out of the gates like a bat out of hell. He is wrestling like this, like he may not get this chance ever again, and is doing everything in his power to knock Kross off his game. Cody seemingly has control for a couple of minutes until he gets leveled by a clothesline from Kross. Kross then takes control of the match and brings the match back down to his pace, methodically working Cody down, tossing him across the ring. After doing this for a few minutes, Kross maybe takes his eye off the ball for a second too long, and Cody finds his way back in control. Cody still fights with a sense of urgency and connects with a disaster kick. He then picks Kross up and goes for the crossroads, but Kross manages to get out of it and slides out of the ring. Kross paces for a bit on the outside before Cody dives out of the ring onto him. Cody and Kross then brawl around the outside for a bit before Kross regains control and then throws Cody back into the ring. As Kross gets back into the ring, Cody gets up and springboards off the ropes going for the Cody Cutter, but Kross snatches him out of the air and puts him into the Kross jacket in the middle of the ring. Kross grapevines his legs around Cody, and despite Cody's best efforts, he passes out and the ref calls for the bell. Karrion Kross retains the title.
He will never finish the story because he's on the wrong brand.
He's already been champion on my side.
But that's not the story. The story is WWE champion. And he don't got that title on his hand. All right, I actually wrote some shit for this one. Not much, but I wrote some shit. All right, who gets the advantage is probably what you're asking yourself. Well, earlier in the day, it was announced that the team that will get the advantage will be the one who gets the most votes on the WWE Twitter poll, which I'm pretty sure has happened in the past, so it wasn't too out of the realm of possibility. And uh, the team that ended up winning was the face team. So Kyle starts the match for the Undisputed Era, and Mox starts off for the team with no name. They fight for a bit. Kyle starts getting the upper hand. Then the next person comes out, and it's gonna be Nakamura. Nakamura is able to give Mox a rest for a bit until Yui gets some backup in there. And the next out is Bobby Fish. Kyle and Fish end up using their chemistry to get the upper hand on both of these men. They can't, Mox and Shinsuke can't seem to get on the same page, arguing about what each other's gonna do. Redragon uses this to their advantage, but that doesn't last long as out comes Roman next. And he puts belt to ass. He's dominating so much that up next Roddy comes out. He decides to just go under the apron and get some chairs and tables to throw in there. Heyman is on the outside watching him get all these things. Roddy gets in and evens the odds again. This lasts until finally Gunther comes out before he goes into the ring. He goes to Cole's Shark Tank and just stares at him and says, "I'll be waiting for you in there." And he goes in the ring and he starts chopping the shit out of everyone. Finally, Adam Cole makes his way to the ring and the match officially starts. We get the classic. The battle line is drawn. Undisputed Era in one ring. Gunther, Roman, Mox, and Nakamura in the other. They all go to war. Gunther gets a chair and chops it so hard it gets launched and it hits Roddy in the head. Cole is about to hit a Canadian destroyer on Mox when Roman comes in and Superman punches him off. Roman turns around. Kyle swings a chair at him, and Roman moves out the way. The chair bounces off of the top rope and hits Kyle in the head instead. And in the end, it's just Roman and Cole left standing. Cole is up on his feet. Roman is getting up. Cole goes for a super kick. Roman ducks, and he hits a Superman punch. Roman starts setting up for a spear when the camera cuts and we see JD on the outside. Roman's looking at him now. He's not doing anything. He's just standing there, menacingly. He finally starts moving toward the entrance. Roman looks at Paul and yells at him to stop JD from getting into the ring. Paul looks around. He reaches under the ring. He gets a chair. He's in a defensive stance. Then he finally relaxes. He looks at Roman and just hands JD the chair. Roman's eyes widen and he starts yelling at Paul, telling him that he never should have trusted his bitch ass again. Roman rushes the entrance when Adam Cole low blows him. JD gets in the ring. Cole looks at him and smiles. He spreads his hands out and JD comes in. Cole gives him a hug and says, I knew you'd make the right choice. JD starts unleashing chair shots on Roman. Gunther and Mox start getting up, and the rest of the Undisputed Era start beating down on them all. Paul is Paul is on the outside. He gets his phone out. He calls someone. He says he says you can come out now. We have this in the bag. That's when we hear the cult of personality. Punk comes out, comes down to ringside, hugs Paul, enters the ring, picks up Roman, hits a GTS on him, looks at Adam Cole, and says, I trust you'll honor the deal whenever I deem it fit. Cole shakes his head and he says he will. They shake hands. Punk leaves with his best friend by his side. Cole finally hits one more Shining Wizard on Roman and goes for the cover. 1, 2, 3. Here are your winners, the Undisputed Era. And that's bad blood.
Okay. That is bad blood.
A lot of bad blood.
There was. It's almost like we were booking things to fit in line with the pay-per-view name.
No.